Hello, welcome back. I just had a delightful chat with Rosalind, the more history and up-to-date. Okay, I'm starting the oil glaze stage, and what colors do you want to do? You can do any colors you want, any colors that you want, as many layers as you want. One thing I'll say, a little bit unusual about this particular acrylic paint, where I left it in the acrylic stage, it was rather light in value compared to what I normally do at the end, by the end of the acrylic stage. So I have a sense that I'm going to be doing this glaze, as I have just done, darker than normal, because it needs to shift darker. So I'm beginning by doing oxide red. Of course, is a brown. For you beginners, don't let the words fool you. You know, yellow ochre is not an ochre. It's not a yellow. It's a brown. It's an ochre, not a yellow. Oxide red, English red, red light. That's a really, it's called red light, and none of those are red. They're all browns. So don't put them on the brown section of your palette. Don't put them in the red section of your paint palette. Put them in the brown section. If you're a section kind of person. If you're a messy person, that's just fine. You don't need to be neat. Whatever you need to move here, because the sun is coming through the back of my canvas. There we go. Now let me move you so you can still hopefully see what I'm doing. Again, oxide red down here. And a little bit of blue. Phthalo and ultramarine. Yes, by the way. Yes. I want the uniformity of texture. You don't want the same degree of soupiness throughout the entire canvas. I don't want to be painting along and suddenly hit a dry spot and my brush behaves in a completely erratic manner. So yeah, do the whole canvas. Plus, because I call my paintings, when they're finished, I call them oil paintings. And this may be me just being a little bit overly conscientious, but I feel like if I call it an oil painting, I don't accidentally want any acrylic bits showing through. So again, that's just me, I'm sure. But the other reasons, I don't want my brush to run into some foreign texture if I fail to cover the whole thing. Okay, now that was pretty easy, pretty quick. And the next is also pretty easy, pretty quick, and pretty fun. This is one of the clearest cases of reverse painting, negative painting that I do, which is lifting out with a rag. I often feel that it's at this point in my painting's evolution that my canvas really starts turning into a painting. What do I mean by that? I'm sorry, I need to move. Again, sun hitting the back of my canvas. There we go. That's, by the way, that building right there is the doctor's office. The doctor who treated, I don't know if it's Confederate or Union soldiers during the Civil War, some of which are buried 70 yards to my left. Fascinating. No idea. This morning. Okay, I was saying, at this point, often I feel like my painting, the canvas is actually, well, I guess the easiest way to put it is the essence of, no, different words, the most important aspect. All about light. Apply this usually, not always, but when I apply a dark-ish glaze and then lift out when the light play starts here. It didn't start here, but it gets a big boost at this point. Now, here's a decision I have been making. I want the focal point of this painting is obviously right there, and I want the painting, the tree, to become more and more abstract as it goes up. So I'm not going to try to render it as carefully way up here. Okay, now I have made a decision during our last little break that I'm going to do the glaze and maybe something in my studio. So hopefully I will be able to start that from my studio. Some of you have an idea. I love and their parents. So is sometimes at a premium at our house. We're loving it. Wouldn't have it any other way for the time being. Temporary situation. And these kids spent all of their life on the West Coast until, so we're tickled to have them here. Okay, I think that's enough wiping out. Yeah, I think I'll do pencil. Now, there are a couple things that I have taken, very intentional and predictable. If I did this too often, short of the cliche mark. One is, I've got a bump on the trunk right there that is not there. I have the base of the trunk going at an angle, which is not in the real life, it's straight. That's a compositional, intentional design decision, because my trunk tapers a little bit more than reality. Again, design decision, composition decision, because for the same reason, tapers or diagonals are more dynamic, more interesting. Right? Vertical and horizontal lines are and normally in my paintings, which have a lot of the vertical lines, it create an intentional grounding against which the organic shapes play on purpose. I usually use much of that dynamic, that diagonals are dynamic and verticals and horizontals are less so. Okay, I need to do some serious drawing of branches. I feel like D-Day is here. It is time to decide, time to make some serious decisions about what is a branch and what is not. And I could drive myself nuts doing this. I say this often, let me say it again. My goal during the underpainting phase, now everything I'm doing up till now is underpainting, and I still have a couple more layers of underpainting to go. But everything I do in the underpainting stage, one of the ways to describe is I am trying to create enough chaos so that something to react to, something to respond to in the non-chaos phase, over the final layer or the final layers. And that principle is aiding me a great deal right now, because as you can see, I have quite a bit of chaos up here by whatever it was, 6, 7, 8 layers of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So there's a lot of mess there. That is helping me a lot, because right now I've got two things. I'm looking at the tree and I'm being influenced somewhat by what I'm seeing. That is branch for branch for branch for branch, but not too much, because again, can you see the tree from here? Oh good, you almost. Because look at that. If you started trying to draw that accurately, I mean, that would be a 3-month job, and I do not have 3 months. That would be the wrong kind of painting in my mind. So what I want to do is give the impression of that tree without tongue drawing that tree, without arm wrestling it into submission. I want the tree to happen as a byproduct of the various kinds of marks that I am making on the painting. Let me say that again. This applies to anything you're painting. There's two ways to render it. One is to just by sheer brute force, tongue painting, time, hours, just to force that thing into submission and draw the dang thing. Get it? That's one way to do it. That's the Bob Timberlake approach, and anybody who does photorealism. There's another way, and that is that I want to capture the essence, and very, very, very realistic. I don't want this tree to appear haphazard. I want it to look like a very believable, in fact, I'd like it to look like this believable oak tree. I'd like it to be so believable that the owners of this house would be delighted to buy it. I'm not hoping this, but this gives you an idea. I would like them to go, that's our tree, okay? So I want it to be realistic. But trying to copy every stinking branch up there, it would, again, that's just a different world. So I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want that tree to, quote-unquote, accidentally show up on this canvas as a byproduct of all the marks that I am making. Now, that's what I've never said exactly that way before. Show up as a byproduct of process that may be better. I want this tree to appear almost like magic on this canvas because of the process. Now, and I was starting to say that there's a lot of chaos happening, which helps me a great deal at this point, because it's helping me decide where to draw these branches. Now, after I finish the pencil stage, I'm going to come back and do dark details in oil with small brushes. So in a sense, I'm going to draw everything I'm drawing now. I don't mean every single line, but the process that I'm doing now, I'm going to two dance steps, by the way, back to back, that are the same. So sometimes in a dance, it's okay to have a hop. I'm having a hop here. Twice in a row, I'm going to go small, dark, literal. Little, dark, small, dark, and literal, 2 times in a row. Once with pencils and once with brushes. And again, yes, it really does help to be able to do this with 2 hands. So I recommend it to you heartily. If you're a piano player, you've used 2 hands your entire life, no big deal. And I think you should take that attitude as an artist and say, no big deal. It feels weird at first, of course, because you sadly weren't trained or taught to do it as a child, as I believe you should have been. But you can teach yourself. When I first started, my left hand was so uncoordinated I couldn't do anything. Except that my paintings became better instantly the moment I started using both hands, even though my left hand was completely uncoordinated. Okay, I'm done. Enough pencils. And this is going to be rather boring, so I don't think I'm going to let you watch all of this too much. Get started a little bit. I think I'm going to brown. So it's brown, but with a little bird in it. It's a little bit dark. In fact, I'm going to dip my brush in my so that the brush glide across the canvas. Starting here, right at the focal point, which is this fairly hard edge of that tree. I want a little contrast right there. A couple of cedar trees here, just on the other side, in the shade of this dark vertical strokes there, and a little bit of darkness over here. Now this is everything I'm doing right now is quite different from this darkness is real at all. Quite a bit more I want lots of contrast because, of course, I want there to be lots of light, play of light on the tree and around the tree. So I'm increasing the contrast beyond what it actually is in real life. A little bit of texture. It's almost got all the texture it needs without me drawing anymore, but just a tiny bit of vertical streaks here to indicate the vertical grain in the bark. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now, I definitely need some deeper shadows in parts of this tree. So now it is decision time again, along with the branches I was painting a while ago. What is a branch and what is not? What's light branch and what's a dark branch and what's sky and so forth. I don't know if you were with me when I did this purple early in the process. I said it'll be darker than that. Well, I'm pretty happy with the value, the intensity of that purple right there. It's an exaggeration over the real, but it doesn't look cartoony. People will see it as a purple shadow. Whether non-artists would say it out loud or not, but I believe they'll see it, see the purpleness, hopefully a sub or unconscious chord in their psyche, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, those shadows are purple, aren't they?" Then the next time they come out and see a tree like this in the sun, they'll go, golly, look at that. Dan Nelson said those shadows were purple in my painting, and now I can see it. Okay, I've taken several pictures, as you can imagine, several photographs of this tree, so I'll have hopefully plenty to work from. I'll take a few more before I leave. Hopefully I'll have plenty to work from when I get back to my studio. And we'll see. I'll give myself a grade later in the day. I hope it'll be an A, but at the moment, not so sure. Maybe. Maybe. I talked earlier about painting. One of the benefits of painting with two hands is that your brain can't quite keep up. You paint a little faster than you can think, and that helps you paint freely, expressively, intuitively, loosely. All those words are appropriate there. And keeps you from getting stuck. So again, those of you who have a hard time being loose and you want to get loose, I strongly recommend painting with two hands because your brain can't quite keep up with what each hand is doing. And you're forced to paint in an expressive and intuitive manner. Okay, I'm going to stop here. There's a good reason. There's a reason for pausing here. Again, I'm using quite a bit of liquid. I think you know that, right? Can you see that? Yep, Winsor Newton Liquid Original. Makes the paint dry quickly. In fact, if I were to leave this painting, which who knows, I might, if I were to leave it for 2 hours, it would make the next layers actually quite a bit easier. Now, I don't usually have that luxury normally when I'm painting it. Of course, I can't wait for it to dry, so I just paint wet on wet all the time. But it is easier to paint on dry. So good. And that is do just a little bit, while this is still wet, let me do a little bit of scratching here. I need to go to get a dry so that I can use the handles. Okay, I'm just going to do. Yeah, a little bit more chaos. Nice effect there. One nice thing about scratching is at any point you do too much, you can just take a thumb or a finger or the brush and just rub it. Again, I don't have any cobalt or cadmium, so that I'm not worried about the health effects. But the scratching now gives the impression of light twigs. Okay, let me see if you've left any comments while we've been talking. It looks like some of you have. I'll turn around so I can see you. Oh no! Oh no. Bad audio. Oh my goodness, folks. This is the worst day because I've paid for all the good equipment. And you're still getting bad. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, next episode, I'll be back in my studio. Thank you so much for watching.